Welcome to another episode of Sports and Songs Podcast. We're on season 4, episode number 1, the Songs Edition. It's a season premiere of the Songs Edition for season 4. Andy, how are you doing?
Yes, doing well. How about you?
Good. It's November 17th, 2022. We're just had our anniversary. We're going to be kicking off a new album of the week, kicking off the new year. And we're going to talk music, concert tours, and music notes.
Grammy news. But first of all,
we're
going to start something new this year for the songs. If you remember last week's, did you do your homework, Dan? Your homework was watching Pat Benatar, Love is a Battlefield video.
I did my homework. I watched it. I pulled it up on YouTube. Pat Benatar, the recent inductee into the Hall of Fame. We had to watch the Love is a Battlefield music video, and she was very ahead for her time. A big story in the background, a music video playing, actors and actresses. It was a full deal. And that was 85, right?
Taxi dancers we had, yes.
No, that was 83, I think.
3, yeah.
So very interesting to see all that tie together and how she reported. Our last album of the week was Live from Earth, Pat Benatar. And it was a live compilation, but they also released 2 new studio tracks at the same time.
Yeah.
Now we got something kind of similar this week.
All right, fire away. What do you got?
Album of the week. It's Ronnie James Dio. For the Dio fans out there, it's Ronnie James Dio. The album is called
Dio
Sacred Heart. And what I'll do is move away this hide. Dio's Sacred Heart is the album review of the week. And let's go through this. We've done 2 other Dio albums. This was the 3rd studio album by American heavy metal band Dio, released in 1985, peaked at number 29 on the charts. It includes the singles Rock and Roll Children and Hungry for Heaven. Now, let's go through the personnel. Now, we've done Holy Diver and we've done The Last in Line.
Yep.
And so those were the first 2 studio albums by Dio. And if you read the reviews and whatnot, the first 2 albums were the best.
Yes.
Not much compares with Last in Line, Holy Diver. This came on the heels of 2 successful albums and got some very mediocre reviews, although it was a very good album. Here's the personnel. It's Ronnie James Dio on vocals, Vinny Appice on the drums, Jimmy Bain on the bass, Claude Schnell on keyboards. Big presence on this album. Keyboards really came back. And guitar was Vivian Campbell. Now, Vivian Campbell, this is the last album he appeared on. And so this was the last Dio album to include guitarist Vivian Campbell, who was fired midway through the album's tour. So they did this. They did the recording. They released the album. They're on tour, and he left halfway through. Now, a rift occurred during the recording of this album between Dio and Campbell. Dio stated in an interview afterwards, basically saying that, Viv really wasn't there for this record. And so they brought in Craig Goldie, and Craig Goldie was the guitarist going forward. They brought him in, very talented guy, good stuff. But Craig Goldie then had to go on tour and play all of the Dio songs that Vivian Campbell did in the past. So what they did was Holy Diver and Last in Line were the top albums before this came out, and recently they released a new 2 CD double deluxe edition in March of 2012 through Universal. They released a 2 CD deluxe edition. Now, clocking in at only 38 minutes and 50 seconds, this is the shortest of Dio's albums, certified gold. And so that's what we've got for that. Here's the track listing. It is 9 songs. Dio, of course, is the vocalist for all these. King of Rock and Roll, it starts off with. Sacred Heart, song number 2, that's the title track. Song 3 is Another Lie. Song 4 is Rock and Roll Children. There is a music video for that as well, Rock and Roll Children. I did watch that for my homework for this week. The next song 5 is Hungry for Heaven. That was one of the songs released. 6, Song 6 is Like the Beat of a Heart. Song 7 is Just Another Day. Song 8, Fallen Angels. Song 9 is Shoot, Shoot. Now, the album cover, the artist for the album cover is Robert Florzak, currently living in Germany. He's been an artist for 4 decades. 4 decades. Now, he's also a very good artist. In fact, some of his artwork is hanging in the home of Mel Gibson right now. Mel Gibson has some of his artwork in his house. Also, Michael Jackson had some at his ranch. In fact, the logo for Neverland was done by Robert Florzak. The logo, the Neverland Ranch logo, was done by this guy. Very strange. I thought I'd bring it up because it's a very strange deal. Now, what they did, let's see. Oh, the dragon, by the way, it's the dragon's name was Dean, although the press renamed it Denzel. Denzel, dragon. Now, what they did in 2012 for this deluxe edition CD, they released a bunch of live songs. I'm sorry. The album after this is Intermission, which is a live compilation, a live tracks, kind of like Pat Benatar last week we talked about. Intermission was released. It was some downtime after Dio did the tour. They never had released a live album before, so they released an album called Intermission. But they put a studio track on there because they brought in Craig Goldie as the guitarist. They brought in the title track, a studio track that he did called Time to Burn. Time to Burn. And so Craig Goldie, they got him in that way, wanted to make him part of the group, include him. He did all the touring. So they released the live track called Intermission, which was all previously released songs already. I personally don't even have that recording, but I had to go back and listen to Time to Burn because I didn't know that track even existed. They released a single track called Time to Burn, and Craig Goldie's got some good guitar work. Very good. Now, do you have anything on Craig Goldie or Vivian Campbell?
Not Craig Goldie, Vivian Campbell. I do have some notes on Vivian Campbell. As I said, this is his last album. From what I read and did research on, and from what I recall, unlike most bands, when a guitarist and the lead singer have an issue and leave, drugs and drinking had nothing to do with this. I think it was just two alpha males were just button heads, I think. My opinion, from what I've read. Maybe I kind of, because I favor both guys, so I don't want to find issues with it either, But I think it was just two alpha males bumping heads. Vivian Campbell did leave. He went on to do some stuff with Thin Lizzy. He did some stuff with Lou Graham's solo albums, Whitesnake, and he ended up replacing Stephen Clark in Def Leppard. Stephen Clark passed away in 91. Then 92, Vivian Campbell replaced him. One of his first shows with them was at the Freddie Mercury tribute concert, April of 92.
Okay.
And if you watch that, it's kind of, when you watch Vivian playing, it's kind of like when you see try not to bring sports into it, but when you see a new athlete go to a new team, he's kind of refreshed and revived, and you can see his enthusiasm again. That's what I saw when you watch that Freddie Mercury concert. When Vivian's out there with Def Leppard, he's kind of like refreshed and new again. Couple albums you see Whitesnake tour or Def Leppard touring, he seemed fresh with him.
Would it be fair to say that Vivian Campbell, after working with Dio on those first 2 albums, was drained and just was ready to move on to something new? Mm-hmm. It may have had nothing to do with the Dio or the other guys or whatever. He just he wasn't there. He was focused on other things. The best thing that happened to him was move to a new band or bands and then take off fresh, like you said.
Yep. I'd say it had nothing to do with alcohol or drugs. It was just a thing. But yeah, he did do some stuff with, like I said, Lou Graham's second solo album. He filled it with Thin Lizzy and did some stuff with Whitesnake. One thing is, where was my note here? Song Hungry for Heaven, if you recall. Again, trying not to tie sports into it too much. Was also the movie soundtrack for Vision Quest.
Oh, really?
A movie about a high school wrestler, yes. So there's kind of a note there.
That's where that came out. I know that was popular in high school, that song, but I saw the movie Vision Quest later, I think, and didn't know it at the time.
And you weren't putting the 2 and 2 together like, hey, there's a Dio song,
No.
And also, that song got the main guitar riff, and was heavily influenced and inspired by, and now here's your homework to go back and listen to it to find out, The Who's Bubba O'Reilly. So go back and check out The Who's Bubba
So
O'Reilly.
that was
from
that guitar riff
inspired.
Okay.
It wasn't sampled, it wasn't copied, it was inspired. So
okay.
So you catch the difference on the two when you listen to those. But I've always kind of been a Vivian Campbell fan. I mean, he's not like Mount Rushmore of guitarists or anything for me, but I've enjoyed his work.
Yep.
How's that sound? And I think he was when he replaced Stephen Clark, which was in my again big shoes to fill. Def Leppard had gone through everything. Rick Allen had lost his arm, and they still stuck together as a band. They've gone through everything, and now you have a guitarist die. You've got to pick up. Phil Collen, the other guitarist in Def Leppard, has had nothing but great things to say about Vivian Campbell. Vivian Campbell has had some health issues, but he's still touring today with Def Leppard.
Okay.
They're all still together.
Wow.
So that's one thing Def Leppard is one of those few bands, with the exception of a Death, it's the same guys. Not a lot of bands can say that. Not a lot of bands 40, 40 years into it could say they're the same guys. Metallica can't. Jason Newsted, they booted him out and had someone else come in. So they're not the same band. A lot of other bands, Whitesnake definitely hasn't had the same people, for God's sake. I think Coverdale's the only original one left.
Yeah.
So the sound, going back to Dio Sacred Heart, although, like I said, Hungry for Heaven was a very good song. I liked that song. Maybe because it got good the airplay through the Vision Quest movie. It was kind of a popular one. But again, a lot of the other albums, after that, Hungry for Heaven, I think the rest of the album was mediocre at best.
Yeah.
And I'm saying mediocre at best, not for Dio standards, but just standards in general.
Yeah.
Dio standards, it was poor. But when you look at other rock albums, it was a pretty good album. But when you look at the marquee, it says Dio, ooh, this is bad.
And I've got some of those subsequent ones, and I like them. I like to listen to them, but you're not putting them in over and over and over.
Right.
It's the first two, and in fact, this one. Yeah. These
about halfway through,
three are all your greatest hits from Dio. Is going to be on these three albums.
And about halfway through this one, you remember why you haven't listened to it in 3 years.
Yeah.
It's a good one for a car ride. So, like I said, it's 40 minutes. You could get to work and back on this album. So it's good every now and then. Listen, it's not Thursday, it's Dio Day. No, it's not one of those albums at all. But Dio was
now the on the side there is there's inscription around the border on the left and right side that it's a Latin phrase there, and it's something about the Sacred Heart, something kind of a Dioism there going on in the back, but that is a Latin phrase that ties back to the title track song, and so very good. But the accompanying stage show was a spectacle involving a mechanized dragon and laser effects captured on the VHS Sacred Heart, the video, and later on DVD as well. So if you get a chance to see that, he was very involved with one of the first ones in laser. A lot of laser on the shows, in concert.
Well, you got to remember 85. What was going on in 85? Iron Maiden with Eddie out there. This was their stage shows. All the stuff was still kind of, it was 85, but you can go to other facilities and watch Pink Floyd The Wall, the laser shows, all this stuff. So bands were trying to get into that, and that wasn't really Dio's thing, but that's what the people wanted, so that's what people got. So,
So that's all I've got for Dio's review of Sacred Heart. Good album. The worst of the three, but still very good.
Right.
The rest all drop off, but these first three is the trifecta, if you will.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's because Vivian Campbell left. It's just kind of, I think, the mojo was gone. They all worked together. You took one piece out, just something was missing.
And these this went gold, and nothing else of Dio's has charted at all. There was a best of the Beast of Dio, it was called the best of, went gold, but nothing else in between. And he keeps, when he was alive, they were pumping out records a lot more than what I knew was even out there. I was surprised to see how many albums are out there, but very high quality as well, as far as the production, the artwork, the lyrics, the stories, all very in depth, typical Dio. But no one was buying them from the music stores. Any other notes, Andy?
Just one more note about the Vivian Campbell Dio connection, if you will. Around that time is when they did Stars, a Hearing Aid album called Stars. It was around the whole Band-Aid stuff,
Live Aid
for Africa. Heavy metal artists got together. They did a song called Stars. It was a Ronnie James Dio thing. Vivian Campbell does perform on that too. Watch the video, you see a bunch of the other names in there. It's kind of cool. It's the heavy metal version of, like I said, USA for Africa and Band-Aid. So it's kind of cool to watch that too. It's not official homework. We'll say it's extra credit.
Is it Star? You said STAR?
STARS, Stars.
Stars.
We are Stars. Yep.
I have not. I've not seen that. I'll bet you have not.
Yes, I've got the video. I had the 45 when it came out. Yes, the video, that's extra credit for your homework. You don't have to watch Vision Quest, but maybe just kind of look at the soundtrack. Go, oh yeah, that's right. Hungry for Heaven was in that. I remember that now.
I may have to do that. Yeah, that was a long time ago. Yeah, this came out in '85, so we're talking many years.
Yep. Many moons ago.
Any tour concert updates?
Yes, I do have a few of those things coming up here. First of all, oops, wrong page. Just right here. We do have concerts at Target Center December 5th, Five Finger Death Punch and Brantley Gilbert. Now, he is a country artist, but he has toured with rock bands before, done other stuff with rock bands. So if you do go and see this first guy come out in a cowboy hat in Copenhagen, and just relax. It's okay. All is well.
Very odd.
Center, December 23rd, Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Yes.
Shout out to Rick Rock and Roll on that one.
Yes.
They're doing 2 shows that day, though. They're not usually here for a couple days. They're here one day, 2 shows, 3 and 7:30. Medina, December 10th is Hairball with Strange Days. And I also heard coming up, I think it's in February, it's going to be Bullet Boys and Firehouse, like we mentioned before. So that's another good one coming up there.
That'd be good.
And at the Music Room in St. Michael, February 7th and 8th. It's a little ways away. We're doing a collaboration. It's called Southern Rock and Blues Rock. It's going to be bands playing everything from the Allman Brothers to ZZ Top.
So Leonard Skinner, everything?
Everything that, whatever you consider Southern Rock or Blues Rock.
Southern Rock.
Those 2 days. So that might be an interesting go-to. That might be a little fun thing.
Has there ever been a group, something like that, compilation?
There's some that do Southern Rock. They kind of mix a lot of them together. These are just a bunch of different bands. I don't know if it's one band doing them all. It just has to be 2 concerts covering Southern Rock and Blues Rock, is all they had on their advertisement on their website.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's going to be just a few guys doing it together, or it's 2 different bands, how it's going to work out. But I am very excited to go see that one. I've never been to that facility to see a concert, so I have it penciled in on my calendar.
Little Molly Hatchet, maybe.
Maybe Molly Hatchet in there, some ZZ Top. I'm guessing Tom Petty. You got Southern Rock, Blues Rock. I'd say Tom Petty. Would you have Stevie Ray Vaughan? I'm guessing would be in something like that. Like I said, Skinnerd, and also Lakefront Jam in Prior Lake. The Rock one day, Country the next. First week of July.
That's July.
Leonard Skinner and REO Speedwagon.
Wow.
Yes.
They have done really well.
Leonard Skinner and REO Speedwagon. That would be a fun one to go to also. Got some family in Prior Lake. Might have to crash at their house that night.
Yeah, that'd be a blast. They've done well there at Lakefront.
Yep. So that's another big one coming in the summer. For those of you who are summer concert festivals are kind of starting to book names now because we're a couple years post-COVID. Everybody's getting ready to go tour. And oh my God, people still have money they want to spend on this stuff, and bands want to go out and perform to make money because they haven't for a couple of years. So there's a lot more of these festivals and things like that starting up in the summer. They're trying to book bands now. So you'll see those advertisements and save up your vacation dates at work and get time off now.
Awesome. All right, everyone. That's all we got for tonight. Do your homework. We'll see you next week and have a good one.
See ya.